Hi, this is Mr. Guy, and I'm going to be going over the aggregate supply and aggregate demand model on the board just to show you for review. I'll have some videos on shifting the aggregate supply and aggregate demand just to help you out because I know people have some problems and some worries. So just in general, this is the aggregate supply curve and the aggregate demand model, and we have this. So on this level, this is real GDP. This is our output. So this is our output here. Over here is our price level. So we have price level. It's not prices because it's for the entire economy. It's price level, and this is real GDP output. This line here is the aggregate demand. It is C plus I plus G plus NX. Those are the shifters of aggregate demand. And this is the demand for all of the consumers, all of the businesses, demand for all of the government, and then of course exports minus imports, which is net exports. Here is short-run aggregate supply. It's upward sloping due to sticky wages, sticky prices, and things are not as flexible as in the classical system. So it's upward sloping. And then we have the long-run aggregate supply. And in general, I write this, it's a vertical line, and I always put it in aggregate supply and aggregate demand model just because I want you to get in the habit of drawing all three together. Some of the tests might not ask you to draw the long-run aggregate supply curve. I just want you to get in the habit of doing it. They won't take any points off if you have extra things, but helps you get into good habits and good things. So this is right here. That is full employment, and that is where aggregate supply equals aggregate demand. This YF is in this aggregate supply. Long-run aggregate supply is at full employment, which is normally 5% unemployment, 95% employment. And some people say, 4 to 6, that's fine, just so you know the general area where that is. If you're over here, and you're over to the right of the long-run aggregate supply, that is normally where you will find the economy being an inflationary gap. This is where unemployment is less than 5%, it might be 3%, 2%, and so on, and your inflation is very low. If you're to the left, so if you're from here over, that is where you would have a recessionary gap, and that is where unemployment is higher than 5%, so it might be 10%, it might be 8%, it doesn't really matter, and then you have a low price level. So normally we have the recessionary gap, you have the inflationary gap, and we look at right or left. And then this is full employment. In general, on the FRQs or on the problems for the AP test, they're normally going to have one problem that's going to have the aggregate supply and aggregate demand model, so you'd have to draw it either at full employment, you'd have to draw it at a recessionary gap or an inflationary gap. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in class or post after this video.